You've just died, and you're about to enter heaven, where everyone knows everybody's past, but before you enter you can hide one thing from your story. What will it be? When I was 19 or 20 and still lived at home, my older brother, 23 or 24 and married, came over and started chatting with me when I was in bed. He asked if he could feel my breasts. He said he'd show me his D. I took off my shirt and let him touch me. He pulled out his D. Then he asked if he could eat me out while he jacked off. I didn't want to do that and started feeling more uncomfortable. I was already feeling uncomfortable, but I think deep down I knew he was planning on doing something. When he first called, he had called the previous day when he knew everyone was away at school/work. I think I wanted to see how far he'd go. Having sex with him was too far. So I told him I didn't want to do that. We then kind of stopped, and then he left. Like a year or so later, we were on the phone, and said he wasn't proud of some things he had done in the past, but he was trying to become a better man. That's all he said. We never spoke about it again. At the time, his wife had had a miscarriage. I think it hurt their marriage pretty badly. IDK for sure, but the way his wife spoke, I think he may have been cheating. I thought they were going to get divorced actually, but I guess they fixed things up cause they're apparently fine now, and have 3 kids. When I was 14 years old I made out with a 10-year-old girl on a regular basis. Now I can't begin to imagine how wrong it was. No one knows about it, except her and me. I hope so. This is the first time I'm writing about it online as well. How the hell did that situation even start? Well, I was always horny as a teenager. Call it puberty, or whatever, I don't know. Always had these sexual urges, and used to think about sexual fantasies most of the time. Our neighbor had a daughter, and we used to wrestle around. One day it was just us bunch of kids playing around in her house. Her parents weren't there. I don't know what happened, but somehow everyone else went outside to play, and we were inside. We were just playing, and suddenly I had this feeling. It was so sudden I just kissed her and started making out. She was too young to understand and never resisted. After that it just happened again and again and again. Many times, almost got caught. Back in the day, when my ex and I were getting down to the bitter end, we had one hell of a fight. I just took off, hopped a flight out of Tampa to LA, ended up staying with her few years older sister for a week and a half. We did the do a lot. Then when she started in, when I got home, threw that shit right in her face. I was an a-hole, but that was what finally got her to move out of my house without me having to go through the courts to have her evicted. The night I shit in my friend's front yard and was caught and ended up shitting my pants, I had to make up a story, so I told them that my dad beat me and I was fleeing. They let me in, but the bathroom was occupied for like 20 minutes, so I had to sit in a room with about 8 other people with shitty pants pretending that the smell wasn't coming from me. I was a 14-year-old girl, and it was mortifying to say the least. I don't want to even tell Reddit this, but it's Reddit. This one year 3 always bullied my girlfriend in high school. He always takes the same route after school. He went on the roof and drank a box of strawberry milk and then went home. I was hiding on the roof waiting for him to finish. Takes him 10-20 minutes. De-stressing after school, he walks to the roof door, starts walking down. I follow him quietly. I kick him in the back down the stairs. He broke his neck and cracked his head open. Wasn't at school for 3 weeks. No one knew it was me except my friend. I have kept that bottled up TL. Doctor, I pushed a bully down the stairs and he nearly died and no one knew I did it. Probably the time when I was like 10 and I was constipated. I took a towel and laid on my bed without pants on, watching YouTube until I pooped. I quickly ran to the bathroom and finished. Then I wrapped the towel up and threw it away. A few hours later, my mom found it and called us all to ask who did it. Scared I would get in lots of trouble as she was already angry enough. I didn't confess and she left it at don't do it again. I'm only 2 years older and it's both hilarious and haunting because A, I've been having a fear of her somehow finding out now, and B, I pooped in a towel and instead of trying to, I don't know, clean the poop at least, I throw it away at the top of the most used garbage can. This is why I always deny it when my mom says I have high IQ. That as an obstinate child of 3 or 4 I named my new kitty, a tiny orange tabby, Witty. I refused to name it anything else that was immediately being suggested like tiger or something. Apparently I won out, and for the next 8 years, she died young from a neighbor poisoning her. She had that name. I was like 25 when it sunk in and clicked that was a crazy name. I'm white. Yeah, I'd forget all that, but love the kitty with a new name. Found this poem by Anonymous after my mom died. I dreamt death came the other night, heaven's gates swung wide. With kindly grace, an angel stood and ushered me inside. And there, to my astonishment, stood folks I'd known before, some I'd judged and labeled unfit for heaven's door. Indignant words rose to my lips, but never were set free, for every face showed stunned surprise. No one expected me. I broke 2 kids' arms. The first one was on a clatter bridge and the kid was asking me to jump on the bridge while they were holding onto the railings hanging out like they were about to fall. They lost their grip and fell about 2 feet and broke their left arm. Second kid was on the merry-go-round and they flew off and hit the ground hard, breaking their right arm from it. Not long after that they removed the merry-go-round. When I was 5 playing soccer, 2 kids collided in front of me going for the ball. I stepped on one kid's arm and broke it. After that they wanted to kick me out of the league and demanded my parents bring my birth certificate to prove I was 5. Also scored goals as well as every kid on the other teams got out of my way the rest of the season. Did we go to the same school? Because they took out our merry-go-round for the same reason. I'd think kids would overload it and have a big kid push it really fast, then everybody would lose their grip and get flung off. It was the best. How I died. I can tell stories all the live none day about how I died and no one will believe me. Then eventually I will spill how I really died, but it will sound fake. I will continue telling made up stories and eventually I will stop. Whenever someone asks I will say I have already told everyone. I will then see the madness ensue as I have tea. Will Jesus Christ and his cousin John. The way I behaved when my first serious boyfriend broke up with me, 20-year-old me did not handle rejection well, and I'm still embarrassed and ashamed of how I behaved. I've gotten much better at handling rejection in my old age. I've had a lot of practice. The time I went to pick up a to-go order and the woman asked me for my number and my dumbass responded, "No, sorry." She wanted a plastic number in my hand. Yep, the cringe almost killed me then and still does to this day. That I stole Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the PS2 from my cousin's friend because it was unlikely I was going to see him again, and I had too much fun playing it with him. Also he was rich AF and could get his parents to buy a new copy. Still regrets though, I did end up seeing him again, and he suspected I took it. There's no reason to hide anything, because we all come from one consciousness that has split into billions and billions of different beings. There is only one being in this universe and that being lives life through all of us. Every day getting to experience a first love, a first kiss, a first ever thing through its own creation. The one divides to create the many, and the many come together to create the one. The time my dad found me naked on the floor, passed out with a needle in my arm. Oh wait, that actually literally saved my life by leading me to recovery. So, I guess I'll go with the time I wrote an entire fake newspaper only making fun of one girl that I had a crush on in middle school and put stacks of free copies in every school bathroom. All those people I had to track down and kill from that AskReddit about how I just died and am about to enter heaven, where everyone knows everybody's past, but before I enter I can hide one thing from my story. Should never have told them that. Oh no, here I good killing again. That time I bullied my now best friend. I felt awful afterwards, and to anyone that is getting bullied, the bully is probably jealous of you. That's why I bullied my best friend. She was so perfect, and I was completely depressed with divorced parents. She had both of hers and a dog. She also wasn't that ugly, so perfect at least in my reality. Also I found out her home life was good, not like mine. Douchey is all I envy. I won't bully her for being perfect though, she didn't choose it, she's just lucky. My identity. That way, everyone will know my past, of the shits that I've done, but no one could ever identify it was me. They'll hear stories about me, but they can't talk, discuss or address these topics directly to me. they'll be talking about some dude, which is me, in front of me, and I'm able to join in the conversation. Talking in third person of course, and I'll be able to embellish, add fake stories, or whatever I want, and they won't be able to discern the truth from lies. Cause they can't ask directly to the person they're talking about, since my identity is hidden. This one time, when I was a kid, like kindergarten-ish age, I was hopping a fence to get into a playground with my older brother and some of his friends. My shorts got stuck to the top of the fence, and I was basically hanging by a wedgie. My brother had to go call our parents, so I was just hanging there for a good while. One time this kid kept asking my girlfriend out, even when he knew we were together. This was in middle school, so of course I had that immature possessive attitude. This kid was absolutely no threat to me. I knew my girlfriend wouldn't even go near him. He was one of those nerdy kids that nobody really talked to. I just felt like I had to show my alphaness to my girlfriend. One day we was in gym class running laps. I ran up behind him at one corner of the gym, and as he went around that corner, I pushed him as hard as I could, and he fell face first into the wall. He knocked out 2 teeth and chipped another, but later got them fixed. Nobody ratted me out, and he didn't know who pushed him, so I was never caught. I regretted it the moment I did it, and I often think of that day, which I deeply wish I could go back and stop myself from doing it.